Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, Verse 23, by His Grace Sundar Gopāl Prabhu. Satvam mamapyachyuta shirshni vanditam karambujam yat tadadhayi satvatam bibharshimam lakshmavarenyamaya ka ishvarasya hitamohitam vibhuh. Saha, that, tvam, you, mama, of me, api, also, achyuta, O infallible one, shirshni, on the head, vanditam, worshipped, kara ambujam, your lotus hand, yat, which, tvat, by you, adhayi, placed, satvatam, on the head of the devotees, bibharshi, you maintain, mam, me, Lakshma, as an insignia on your chest, Varenya, O worshipable one, Mayaya, with deceit, Kaha, who, Ishvarasya, of the supremely powerful controller, Ihitam, the desires, Uhitum, to understand by reason and argument, Vibhu, is able, Iti, thus. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: O infallible one, your lotus palm is the source of all benediction. Therefore, your pure devotees worship it, and you very mercifully place your hand on their heads. I wish that you may also place your hand on my head, for although you already bear my insignia of golden streaks on your chest, I regard this honor as merely a kind of false prestige for me. You show your real mercy to your devotees, not to me. Of course, you are the supreme absolute controller, and no one can understand your motives. Please repeat. O infallible one, your lotus palm is the source of all benediction. Therefore, your pure devotees worship it, and you very mercifully place your hand on their heads. I wish that you may also place your hand on my head, for although you already bear my insignia of golden streaks on your chest, I regard this honor as merely a kind of false prestige for me. You show your real mercy to your devotees, not to me. Of course, you are the supreme absolute controller, and no one can understand your motives. Purport. In many places, the Shastras describe the Supreme Personality of Godhead as being more inclined toward His devotees than toward His wife, who always remains on His chest. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11:14-15, it is stated, Na tatha me priyatama atmayo nirna shankarah na cha sankarshano na shrir naivatma cha yatha bhavan. Here Krishna plainly says that his devotees are more dear to him than Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Sankarshan, the original cause of creation, the goddess of fortune, or even his own self. Elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:9-20, Shukadeva Goswami says, Nemam virincho nabhavo nashrirapyanga samshraya prasadam lebhire gopi yattat prapa vimuktidat. The Supreme Lord, who can award liberation to anyone, showed more mercy toward the gopis than to Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, or even the goddess of fortune, who is his own wife and is associated with his body. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-60 also states, Nayam Shriyonga Unitantarate Prasada Svaryoshitam Nalinagandha Rucham Putonyah Rasotsavesya Bhujadanda Grihita Kantha Labdha Shishamya Udagad Vrajasundarinam. The gopis received benedictions from the Lord that neither Lakshmi Devi nor the most beautiful dancers in the heavenly planets could attain. In the Rasa dance, the Lord showed his favor to the most fortunate gopis by placing his arms on their shoulders and dancing with each of them individually. No one can compare with the gopis who received the causeless mercy of the Lord. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that no one can receive the real favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead without following in the footsteps of the gopis. Even the goddess of fortune could not receive the same favor as the gopis, although she underwent severe austerities and penances for many years. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discusses this point with Venkata Bhatta in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 9, texts 111 through 131. The Lord inquired from Venkata Bhatta, Your worshipable goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, always remains on the chest of Narayan, and she is certainly the most chaste woman in the creation. However, my Lord is Lord Sri Krishna, a cowherd boy engaged in tending cows. Why is it that Lakshmi, being such a chaste wife, wants to associate with my Lord? Just to associate with Krishna, Lakshmi abandoned all transcendental happiness in Vaikuntha and for a long time accepted vows and regulative principles and performed unlimited austerities. Venkata Bhatta replied, Lord Krishna and Lord Narayana are one and the same, but the pastimes of Krishna are more relishable due to their sportive nature. They are very pleasing for Krishna's Shaktis. Since Krishna and Narayana are both the same personality, Lakshmi's association with Krishna did not break her vow of chastity. Rather, it was in great fun that the goddess of fortune wanted to associate with Lord Krishna. The goddess of fortune considered that her vow of chastity would not be damaged by her relationship with Krishna. Rather, by associating with Krishna, she could enjoy the benefit of the Rasa dance. If she wanted to enjoy herself with Krishna, what fault is there? Why are you joking so about this? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I know that there is no fault in the goddess of fortune, but still she could not enter into the Rasa dance. We hear this from revealed scriptures. The authorities of Vedic knowledge met Lord Ramchandra in Dandakaranya, and by their penances and austerities they were allowed to enter into the Rasa dance. But can you tell me why the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, could not get that opportunity? To this, Venkata Bhatta replied, I cannot enter into the mystery of this incident. I am an ordinary living being. My intelligence is limited and I am always disturbed. How can I understand the pastimes of the Supreme Lord? They are deeper than millions of oceans. Lord Chaitanya replied, Lord Krishna has a specific characteristic. He attracts everyone's heart by the mellow of his personal conjugal love. By following in the footsteps of the inhabitants of the planet known as Vrajaloka or Goloka Vrindavan, one can attain the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. However, the inhabitants of that planet do not know that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unaware that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, the residents of Vrindavan like Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi and the gopis treat Krishna as their beloved son or lover. Mother Yashoda accepts him as her son and sometimes binds him to a grinding mortar. Krishna's cowherd boyfriends think he is an ordinary boy and get up on his shoulders. In Goloka Vrindavan, no one has any desire other than to love Krishna. The conclusion is that one cannot associate with Krishna unless he has fully received the favor of the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi. Therefore, if one wants to be delivered by Krishna directly, he must take to the service of the residents of Vrindavan who are unalloyed devotees of the Lord. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Yes, Shri Radha Mani.
So thank you very much for coming on, joining us in the Srimad Bhagavatam class. So here's an interesting point that Lakshmi, she is praying here. Of course, Lakshmi is the goddess of fortune. Everybody knows that, yes? But here she is praying herself to ask favor from the Lord. She thinks that the Lord is actually giving favor more to his devotees. And this verse, the word devotee is referring specifically to the gopis. So the gopis are getting more favor than herself. So although he has given her the facility to stay on her chest, she has got one line on the chest, golden line, So although she's there with him on the chest, but she thinks this is not the topmost benediction. The topmost benediction is when the Lord is dancing with the gopis, putting his hand on them. So this conversation, why she is supreme, why the gopis are supreme, can understand by this. Prabhupada quoted this verse from talk between Venkata Bhatt and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Venkata Bhatt is from the Sri Sampradaya, and the Sri Sampradaya, they worship Lakshmi Narayan. They don't worship Krishna at all. Do you know? Huh? Don't. They worship more Lakshmi, and so he was doing very nice puja for Lakshmi and Narayan, and the Lord was staying there in his house. South India, this is in Sri Rangam. So the Lord wanted to elevate him to a higher position. So he asked this question. You can see, you go 9113, we'll read this part here. The Prabhu kahe, see? Can you see?
प्रभु को है भट्ट तोमार लक्ष्मी ठाकुरानी कांत वक्ष स्थिता पतिव्रता शिरोमणि। Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the Bhattacharya, your worshipable goddess of fortune Lakshmi always remains on the chest of Narayan, and she is certainly the most chaste woman in the creation. हमार ठाकुर कृष्ण गोप गोचारक साध्वी होया केने चाहे ताहार संगम. However, my Lord is Lord Sri Krishna, a cowherd boy who is engaged in tending cows. Why is it that Lakshmi, being such a chaste wife, wants to associate with my Lord?
See the point here. Although she is exalted, Lakshmi, goddess of fortune, why she wants to associate with the Lord? See, this is the question. Her position is already supreme, but why she wants to be a servant of Krishna? Is the question, is it? So he explains.
এই লাগে সুখ ভোগ ছাড়ি চিরকাল ব্রত নিয়ম করি তপ করিল অপার. Just to associate with Krishna, Lakshmi abandoned all transcendental happiness in Vaikuntha and for a long time accepted vows and regulative principles and performed unlimited austerities.
So in order to go into the Rasa Leela, she started doing austerities. To get into the highest thing, which is dancing with Krishna. And you follow. Next.
कस्यानुभावोऽस्य न देव विद्महे तवाङ्घ्रिरेणु स्पर्शाधिकारः यद्वाञ्छया श्रीर्ललनाचरत्तपो विहाय कामान् सुचिरं धृतव्रता. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, O Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya attained such an opportunity to be touched by the dust of your lotus feet. Even the goddess of fortune for this end performed austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and observing austere vows. Indeed, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya got such an opportunity. Purport. Yeah. In the actual verse.
64.
No.
The fourth quality not there in Narayana.
Yeah, that actually we'll come to that, but the point here is this. You can see how everybody is trying to get the lotus feet of the das of the Lord. And Kaliya got it so easily, he was dancing on his head. Even Lakshmi couldn't get it. See?
भट्ट कहे कृष्ण नारायण एक स्वरूप कृष्ण ते अधिक लीला वैदग्ध्याय रूप वैदग्ध्यादि रूप. Venkata Bhatta then said, Lord Krishna and Lord Narayana are one and the same, but the pastimes of Krishna are more relishable due to their sportive nature.
So this point here, Krishna is more sportive in the sense that he plays the flute. He has Rasa Leela. He has childhood pastime. And his beauty is so attractive that even Narayana wants to, see him. You understand this point? These are the four things that are only present in Krishna. Sometimes they were arguing, how is it that, we say Krishna has got 100%, right? Narayana has got how many percent?
94.
94. Then Lord Shiva has got
85.
85 and Brahma has got 78 or something. So they say, how you can put all these things there? There's no such thing. They were arguing, you see. But this is because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they cannot accept this fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. They want to say everything is equal. There's the same point here that Venkata Bhatt is saying, they are all equal. But Krishna is more sportive, we say like that. But the sportive nature is because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Etacham Sa Kala Pumsham Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. You understand? He is Swayam Bhagavan. That's why in Krishna Leela, when Ramachandra came, he had only one wife, no? He was what? Following all the rules and like Maryada Purusha. he followed. But Krishna came, he broke all principles. And that's God. God means what? It's not subject to any rules and regulations. There's a difference. That's why he says here is more sportive. Right? Next.
तार स्पर्शे नाही जाए पतिव्रता धर्म कौतुके लक्ष्मी चाहे न कृष्णेर संगम. Since Krishna and Narayana are the same personality, Lakshmi's association with Krishna does not break her vow of chastity. Rather, it was in great fun that the goddess of fortune wanted to associate with Lord Krishna.
So he's on the argument that there's no difference. She is also his, expansion. I mean, you understand? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to explain there's a difference. See?
सिद्धान्ततस्त्व भेदेपि श्रीश कृष्ण स्वरूपयोः रसेनोत्कृष्यते कृष्ण रूपमेषा रसस्थितिः.
Figure the but quotes this verse. You see what the explanation.
Venkata Bhatta continued, according to transcendental realization, there is no difference between the forms of Narayana and Krishna. Yet in Krishna, there is a special transcendental attraction due to the conjugal mellow, and consequently, he surpasses Narayana. This is the conclusion of transcendental mellows.
Same verse he quoted, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will explain this verse to him. You understand? So he's quoting of this verse saying there's no difference practically. But Krishna has got conjugal ras, Go on.
कृष्ण संगे पतिव्रता धर्म नहे नाश अधिक लाभ पाये आर रास विलास. The goddess of fortune considered that her vow of chastity would not be damaged by her relationship with Krishna. Rather, by associating with Krishna, she could enjoy the benefit of the rasa dance. विनोदिनी लक्ष्मीर होय कृष्ण अभिलाष इहाते की दोष के न करो परिहास.
Parihasa, why are you making joking like this?
Venkata Bhatta further explained, Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is also an enjoyer of transcendental bliss. Therefore, if she wanted to enjoy herself with Krishna, what fault is there? Why are you joking so about this?
See? So for him, there's no difference. Lakshmi, Gopi, everything the same. You understand? And she wants to go and down. Why you upset? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is now going to clearly show the difference. See?
प्रभु को है दोष नहीं हामी जानी रास ना पाइलो लक्ष्मी शास्त्र इह सुनी. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I know that there is no fault on the part of the goddess of fortune, but still she could not enter the rasa dance. We hear this from the revealed scriptures.
See? Although she tried to do all this tapasya, she could not go into the rasa dance. Why? Why? This is now he's explaining.
नायं श्रियोंग उनितांतरते प्रसाद स्वर्योषितां नलिनगन्धरुचां कुतोन्याः रासोत्सवेस्य भुजदण्डगृहीतकण्ठ लब्धाशिषां य उदगाद् ब्रजसुन्दरीणाम्. When Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Ras Leela, the gopis were embraced around the neck by the Lord's arms. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or the other consorts in the spiritual world. Nor was such a thing ever imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma exactly resemble the beauty and fragrance of lotus flowers. And what to speak of worldly women who may be very, very beautiful according to material estimation.
This is spoken by Uddhava. 1047 60. There's a few verses that Uddhava spoke after he went, Krishna sent him to Vrindavan to comfort the gopis. But when he went and he saw them and he saw their mood, then he prays. These are prayers from him. They're from 1047 58 down, and you can see we can go to the prayers. We'll go from here to the prayers and we will come back here.
10, where it starts?
1047 58. said even the worldly woman, what is their standard? You see the breakdown. The Lakshmi, then even the heavenly ladies, and you want to speak about ordinary person. Nobody can get this favor that the gopis have got. Right? See, so he's going to pray. You can see, we will read.
Translation.
I will just read translation because I have no time.
Uddhava sang, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-58. Uddhava sang, among all persons on earth, these cowherd women alone have actually perfected their embodied lives, for they have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love for Lord Govinda. Their pure love is hankered after by those who fear material existence, by great sages, and by ourselves as well. For one who has tasted the narrations of the infinite Lord, what is the use of taking birth as a high-class Brahmana or even as Lord Brahma himself?
See, he's glorifying the gopis here. Next verse.
How amazing it is that these simple women who wander about the forest, seemingly spoiled by improper behavior, have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love for Krishna, the Supreme Soul. Still, it is true that the Supreme Lord himself awards his blessings even to an ignorant worshipper, just as the best medicine works even when taken by a person ignorant of its ingredients.
Next. I mean, these verses are very, very important verses.
When Lord Sri Krishna was, this is the same one.
This is the one that we read just now, is it? Next.
The gopis of Vrindavan have given up the association of their husbands, sons, and other family members who were very difficult to give up, and they have forsaken the path of chastity to take shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda Krishna, which one should search for by Vedic knowledge. Oh, let me be fortunate enough to become one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavan, because the gopis trample them and bless them with the dust of their lotus feet.
You see how he is praying? He wants to take birth as a what? Creeper, bush, something. So the gopis will step on that and give their mercy to see. Next.
The goddess of fortune herself, along with Lord Brahma and all the other demigods who are masters of yogic perfection, can worship the lotus feet of Krishna only within her mind. But during the Rasa dance, Lord Krishna placed his feet upon these gopis' breasts, and by embracing those feet, the gopis gave up all distress.
See that? See the difference? They can only pray to him in their mind, but Krishna actually gave the lotus feet freely to the gopis. Next.
I repeatedly offer my respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda Maharaj's cowherd village. When these gopis loudly chant the glories of Sri Krishna, the vibration purifies the three worlds.
Okay. So you see how the gopis are so simple. They don't know Krishna is God. They only love him. How exalted their position is. Right. So we go back again to the conversation. 911 what? 912. 12? 122.
6.
1 that was 1047.
So 9.122. But can you tell me why the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, could not enter the Rasa dance? The authorities of Vedic knowledge could enter the Rasa dance and associate with Krishna.
So the authorities of Vedic knowledge meant the Shrutis, they were praying to the Lord in the previous life to associate with the Lord. Actually, they saw Ramachandra and they wanted to embrace him, but they cannot embrace him. So in next life, they became the gopis.
923. Great sages conquer the mind and senses by practicing the mystic yoga system and controlling the breath. Thus, engaging in mystic yoga, they see the supersoul within their hearts and ultimately enter into impersonal Brahman. But even the enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead attain that position simply by thinking of the Supreme Lord. However, the damsels of Vraja, the gopis, being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, simply wanted to embrace him and his arms, which are like serpents. Thus, the gopis ultimately tasted the nectar of the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, we Upanishads can also taste the nectar of his lotus feet by following in the footsteps of the gopis.
Right? That's a famous verse. Prabhupada always quote, no? Ramya,
Ramya Kashid Upasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita.
Vrajavadhubhir, So that verse Prabhupada quotes, I think is in RD 1.5. RD 1.5, So that verse shows that how the gopis' position is so exalted.
Having been asked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu why the goddess of fortune could not enter into the Rasa dance, whereas the authorities on Vedic knowledge could, Venkata replied, I cannot enter into the mysteries of this behavior.
So Venkata cannot answer this question because for him, Lakshmi and the gopis all the same. But here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then will quote that same verse he quoted and he will explain that. You can see the next verse.
Ami jiva kshudra buddhi sahajaya sthira ishwarera lila koti samudra gambhira. Venkata then said, I am an ordinary human being. Since my intelligence is very limited, I am easily agitated. My mind cannot enter within the deep ocean of the pastimes of the Lord.
So there is difference, worship. Of course, when we speak Vishnu, everybody the same, we say generalizing. But deeper in, you understand there is distinction between Krishna, between Narayan, between Vishnu, you understand? And Krishna's position is topmost. Next.
तुम्ही साक्षात श्री कृष्ण जान निज कर्म जारे जाना श्री जाने तुम्हार लीला मर्म. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. You know the purport of your activities, and the person whom you enlighten can also understand your pastimes.
So this is the point. If you want to know about all these deeper things, you must go to a person who is a pure devotee of the Lord. Understand? You cannot just learn all these things by any Tom and Dick and Harry. No, you must go to like here he says, you are the Supreme Lord. You know. Just like Arjuna also said, my doubts can only be cleared by you because you are the original personality of God. See? Right?
The Lord replied, Lord Krishna has a special characteristic. He attracts everyone's heart by the mellow of his personal conjugal love.
This is one of the extra qualities of Krishna. Nobody has this quality, only Krishna. Next.
By following in the footsteps of the inhabitants of the planet known as Vrajaloka or Goloka Vrindavan, one can attain the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. However, in that planet, the inhabitants do not know that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So this is the difference. In Vaikuntha, they all know that Krishna is Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the platform of worship is in their awe and reverence. Adiyan, they only know that. But in that kind of mood, you cannot love Krishna completely because the coward boys and the gopis, right? These coward boys tap on his head. They're playing, they're fighting. If you know he is God, will you step on his head? You cannot do that. You see, therefore the position of Krishna there, they don't know Krishna is God. Okay? Next.
There, someone may accept him as a son and sometimes bind him to a grinding mortar. Someone else may accept him as an intimate friend and attaining victory over him, playfully mount his shoulders.
See that? This kind of activities cannot be done in Vaikuntha. The position is different.
The inhabitants of Vrajabhumi know Krishna as the son of Maharaj Nanda, the king of Vrajabhumi, and they consider that they have no relationship with the Lord in the rasa of opulence.
So that's why when Radharani met Krishna in Kurukshetra, she said, I don't want to see you here like this, dressed in the opulent, kingly man. I want to take you back to Vrindavan, where you are dressed like a coward boy. And there's a verse actually. We can, I want to see you in that form. See? Because this opulent platform, there is awe and reverence. There is no intimacy. Okay, next.
One who worships the Lord by following in the footsteps of the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi attains him in the transcendental planet of Vraja, where he is known as the son of Maharaj Nanda.
This is the same.
Nayam Sukhapo Bhagavan. Dehinam Gopika Sutah Jnaninam Chatma Bhutanam Yatha Bhaktimatamiha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then quoted, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to those devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service. But he is not as easily accessible to mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as the self.
So this verse itself is the whole class. you know.
The authorities in the Vedic literature, who are known as the Shrutiganas, worshipped Lord Krishna in the ecstasy of the gopis and followed in their footsteps. The personified authorities on the Vedic hymns acquired bodies like those of the gopis and took birth in Vrajabhumi. In those bodies, they were allowed to enter into the Lord's Rasa Leela dance. Lord Krishna belongs to the cowherd community, and the gopis are the dearmost lovers of Krishna. Although the wives of the denizens of the heavenly planets are most opulent within this material world, neither they nor any other woman in the material universe can acquire Krishna's association.
So unless you go through the gopis, you cannot go to Krishna. Now, I'll finish this, then we'll go to the another section.
The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, wanted to enjoy Krishna and at the same time retain her spiritual body in the form of Lakshmi. However, she did not follow in the footsteps of the gopis in her worship of Krishna.
So that's the difference, you see. Lakshmi never follow in the footsteps of the gopis. She want to independently go direct to the Lord. So that's not possible to go to Krishna. You cannot go to Krishna directly. I will explain that point.
Vyasadeva, the supreme authority on Vedic literature, composed the verse beginning Nayam Sukhapo Bhagavan because no one can enter into the Rasa Leela dance in any body other than that of a gopi.
See that point here? Nobody can go into that. So she was trying to go as Lakshmi. No, I am his wife. Why I cannot go and dance with him? She is thinking like that. That's why Venkatabad also said there's no difference between her if she goes and dances, but she cannot go. See? It says here that you cannot go unless you have a body of a gopi. Yeah.
Before this explanation was given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Venkatabhatta thought that Sri Narayana was the supreme personality of Godhead.
See that point here? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to make him understand that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, not Narayana. Yeah? Next.
Thinking in this way, Venkatabhatta believed that worship of Narayan was the supreme form of worship, superior to all other processes of devotional service, for it was followed by the Sri Vaishnava disciples of Ramanujacharya.
That is their sampradaya. You see, in their sampradaya, Lakshmi, Narayan.
Echo off the echo. Echo.
You follow? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is bringing you to another level. Okay. Now,
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had understood this misconception of Venkata Bhattas, and to correct it, the Lord talked so much in a joking way.
because he did it in a joking manner, he didn't,
The Lord then continued, "My dear Venkata Bhatta, please do not continue doubting. Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this is the conclusion of the Vedic literatures."
Jai Sri Radha.
Krishner Vilas Murti Shri Narayan Ataiva Lakshmi Adyar Harete Haman. Lord Narayana, the opulent form of Krishna, attracts the minds of the goddess of fortune and her followers. Etecham Sakala Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrar Vyakulam Lokam Mridayant Yuge Yuge. All these incarnations of Godhead are either plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. In every age, he protects the world through his different features when the world is disturbed by the enemies of Indra. The word is used asadharana. Narayana hoite Krishner asadharana guna ataiva Lakshmir Krishne Trishna anukshana. Because Krishna has four extraordinary qualities not possessed by Lord Narayana, the goddess of fortune Lakshmi always desires his company.
So then, what is these four qualities that's explained here?
Lord Narayana has 60 transcendental qualities. Over and above these, Krishna has four extraordinary transcendental qualities absent in Lord Narayana. These four qualities are: 1. His wonderful pastimes which are compared to an ocean. 2. His association in the circle of the supreme devotees in conjugal love, the Gopis. 3. His playing on the flute whose vibration attracts the three worlds. And 4. His extraordinary beauty which surpasses the beauty of the three worlds.
When he says associated with the Gopis means he starts this Rasa Leela. No avatar does Rasa Leela. Only one person does. Who is that?
Lord Krishna's beauty is unequaled and unsurpassed.
That's why it's called Krishna. Next.
You have recited the shloka beginning with Siddhanta Tastva Bhedepi. That very verse is evidence that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So he explains that verse now. Why Krishna is the Supreme. He quoted this verse saying there's no difference. But Krishna, he's explaining now. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Siddhanta Tastva Bhedepi Shrisha Krishna Swarupayoh Rasenotkrishya Krishna Rupamesha Rasasthiti. According to transcendental realization, there is no difference between the forms of Krishna and Narayana. Yet, in Krishna, there is a special transcendental attraction due to the conjugal mellow, and consequently, he surpasses Narayana. This is the conclusion of transcendental mellows.
He himself quoted this verse, but he accepted the first line. There's no difference between Narayana and Krishna. But in the other line, you can see how Krishna's position is unique. Understand? Next.
This is a verse from Bhakti. Next. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, attracts the mind of the goddess of fortune, but Lord Narayana cannot attract the minds of the Gopis. This proves the super excellence of Krishna.
The Gopis, Krishna wanted to play a trick on them, While they were looking for him, he manifested as Narayan and he was sitting. And when the Gopis came, they asked, "Oh, Narayan," they pay obeisance. They asked, "Where is Krishna?" They were not attracted to him. But when Radharani came, he could not keep his form. You see how the Gopis' position is so exalted. Next.
To say nothing of Lord Narayana personally, Lord Krishna himself appeared as Narayana just to play a joke on the Gopis.
This is what I explained. See?
Although Krishna assumed the four-armed form of Narayana, he could not attract the serious attention of the Gopis in ecstatic love.
See, he could not. Then,
once Lord Sri Krishna playfully manifested himself as Narayana with four victorious hands and a very beautiful form. When the Gopis saw this exalted form, however, Their ecstatic feelings were crippled. A learned scholar, therefore, cannot understand the gopis' ecstatic feelings, which are firmly fixed upon the original form of Lord Krishna as the son of Nanda Maharaj. The wonderful feelings of the gopis in ecstatic Paramarasa with Krishna constitute the greatest mystery in spiritual life.
That's why this is the topmost thing. It is not publicly discussed. Understand? To understand this, you must get into the mood of the gopis. This verse is from Lalita Madhava.
In this way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deflated the pride of Venkata Bhatta, but just to make him happy again, he spoke as follows. The Lord pacified Venkata Bhatta by saying, "Actually, whatever I have said is by way of jest. Now you can hear from me the conclusion of the Shastras in which every Vaishnava devotee has firm faith. There is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Narayana, for they are of the same form. Similarly, there is no difference between the gopis and the goddess of fortune, for they also are of the same form."
From Radharani only you get expansions. Understand? Just like from Krishna you get all expansion, and from Radharani you get all the Lakshmi, everything.
Female expression. The goddess of fortune enjoys the association of Krishna through the gopis. One should not differentiate between the forms of the Lord, for such a conception is offensive.
So just to pacify him, he just said all these verses. But already the fact is that Krishna's position is next.
There is no difference between the transcendental forms of the Lord. Different forms are manifested due to different attachments of different devotees. Actually, the Lord is one, but he appears in different forms just to satisfy his devotees.
So whichever form the devotee likes, he can, meditate on it. There's no, just like Hanuman, he liked the form of Ram. You cannot change that. See? So accordingly, the devotees. Next.
मणिर्यथा विभागेन नीलपीतादिभिर्युतः रूपभेदम् अवाप्नोति ध्यानभेदात् तथाच्युतः. When the jewel known as Vaidurya touches various other materials, it appears to be separated into different colors, and consequently its forms also appear different. Similarly, according to the meditational ecstasy of the devotee, the Lord, who is known as Achyuta, the infallible one, appears in different forms, although he is essentially one.
So the Lord appears to whichever form the devotee likes. This verse is there in also 11 to 40. 11 to 40. You can refer because we have no time. We go here, go there, we won't finish, Okay. You can go there and refer to that, you can write it down.
Narada Pancharatra. Venkata Bhatta then said, "I am an ordinary fallen living entity, but you are Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself."
So that this understanding is here. Now we want to explain to you why the gopis' position is so exalted. You go to 200. We'll read a few verses from here. This is a talk between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is hearing from Ramananda Rai. So let's go here. I think we'll start with 200 now. Yeah.
So reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhyalila 8.200. Actually, you are speaking through my mouth and at the same time you are listening. This is very mysterious. Anyway, kindly hear the explanation of the process by which the goal can be attained.
So here, how to become a devotee of Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, Ramananda Rai is explaining.
The pastimes of Radha and Krishna are very confidential. They cannot be understood through the mellows of servitude, fraternity, or parental affection.
So in any of these ras, you cannot go into the Radha Krishna worship. Not possible. Understand? Next.
Actually, only the gopis have the right to appreciate these transcendental pastimes, and only from them can these pastimes be expanded.
Only through the gopis. That's why Lakshmi, she wanted to bypass that. She wanted to, and she performed austerities and all that, tried to get into, but she could not enter into the pastimes. That's not possible. See? In fact, Lord Shiva also wanted to go in. That's why his name is what? Gopishwara. So if anybody want to go in, must go through him to worship the gopis. Huh? Narada also. Huh? Oh, he's a gopi.
Without the gopis, these pastimes between Radha and Krishna cannot be nourished. Only by their cooperation are such pastimes broadcast. It is their business to taste the mellows.
So only through the gopis. Cannot do any way. To go to Krishna, I mean to get into him really, you must go through the gopis.
Without the help of the gopis, one cannot enter into these pastimes. Only one who worships the Lord in the ecstasy of the gopis, following in the footsteps, can engage in the service of Sri Sri Radha Krishna in the bushes of Vrindavan. Only then can one understand the conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. There is no other procedure for understanding.
So you cannot try to do this any other way. It's not possible. No? You have to become a servant of the servant of the servant of the Gopi in Bharata. Padakamala you das anu das.
The pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna are self-effulgent. They are happiness personified, unlimited and all-powerful. Even so, the spiritual humors of such pastimes are never complete without the gopis, the Lord's personal friends. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is never complete without his spiritual potencies. Therefore, unless one takes shelter of the gopis, one cannot enter into the company of Radha and Krishna. Who can be interested in their spiritual pastimes without taking their shelter?
Right? So that's why we, Radha and Krishna, we worship here. Huh? Why we worship Radha and Krishna? Unless you do this, it's not possible. Huh? Next.
There is an inexplicable fact about the natural inclinations of the gopis. The gopis never want to enjoy themselves with Krishna personally. The happiness of the gopis increases 10 million times when they serve to engage Sri Sri Radha and Krishna in their transcendental pastimes.
So the gopis are interested in getting Radha and Krishna together. And Radharani, she is more happy when she engaged the gopis in Krishna's service. You see how? Read on.
By nature, Srimati Radharani is just like a creeper of love of Godhead, and the gopis are the twigs, flowers, and leaves of that creeper. When the nectar of Krishna's pastimes is sprinkled on that creeper, the happiness derived by the twigs, flowers, and leaves is 10 million times greater than that derived by the creeper itself. All the gopis, the personal friends of Srimati Radharani, are equal to her. Krishna is pleasing to the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi, just as the moon is pleasing to the lotus flower. His pleasure-giving potency is known as Hladini, of which the active principle is Srimati Radharani. She is compared to a creeper with newly grown flowers and leaves. When the nectar of Krishna's pastimes is sprinkled on Srimati Radharani, all her friends, the gopis, immediately appreciate the pleasure 100 times more than if they were sprinkled themselves. Actually, this is not at all wonderful. Although the gopis, Srimati Radharani's friends, do not desire to enjoy themselves directly with Krishna, Srimati Radharani makes a great endeavor to induce Krishna to enjoy himself with the gopis.
So she is also, always thinking how to bring the others to him, Krishna. That's why we go to Radharani. Because she will help us go to. That's why in Vrindavan they only chant what? Why they chant only Radhe Radhe? Because by getting her mercy, you will get Krishna. Hey, these verses. Next.
Presenting various pleas for the gopis, Srimati Radharani sometimes sends the gopis to Krishna just to enable them to associate with him directly. At such times, she enjoys a happiness 10 million times greater than that enjoyed through direct association.
See? This is transcendental consciousness, Now if somebody is getting, they will be envious. That's material consciousness. Oh, why you got, I didn't get. Is it a difference? Next.
The transcendental mellow is nourished by that mutual behavior and transcendental love of Godhead. When Lord Krishna sees how the gopis have developed pure love for him, he becomes very satisfied. It is to be noted that the natural characteristic of the gopis is to love the Supreme Lord. Their lusty desire is not to be compared to material lust. Nonetheless, because their desire sometimes appears to resemble material lust, their transcendental love for Krishna is sometimes described as lust.
This is in according to the verse that Narada Muni was speaking to Yudhishthira, the 4 kinds of people who go to him. Kama, Sneha, what? Fear. Kamsa by fear. And Sisupal by envy. Next.
प्रेमैव गोपरामाणां काम इत्यगमत् प्रथाम् इत्युद्धवादयोप्येतं वाञ्छन्ति भगवत्प्रियाः. Although the dealings of the gopis with Krishna are on the platform of pure love of Godhead, such dealings are sometimes considered to be lusty. But because they are completely spiritual, Uddhava and all the other dearmost devotees of the Lord desire to participate in them.
Yeah, this is not lust. Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with sannyasi? Why you want to talk about this? It's on the transcendental level. When you meditate on the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis, that way you will clear all your lusts. There's a verse. Kamam Hridrogam. You take out that verse, you can see, because we won't have time to finish. You actually, by meditating on Krishna's pastime with the gopi, you can clear all lust. And if it's a lusty affair, then how is it possible? Does it make any sense? Next.
That verse is 10:33-39. 10:33-39.
10:32-39. That verse. You can go and refer to that.
10:33-39. Not 32. Lusty desires are experienced when one is concerned with his own personal sense gratification. The mood of the gopis is not like that. Their only desire is to satisfy the senses of Krishna. Among the gopis, there is not a pinch of desire for sense gratification. Their only desire is to give pleasure to Krishna, and this is why they mingle with him and enjoy with him. All the gopis said, "Dear Krishna, we carefully hold your delicate lotus feet upon our hard breasts. When you walk in the forest, your soft lotus feet are pricked by small bits of stone. We fear that this is paining you. Since you are our life and soul, our minds are very much disturbed when your lotus feet are pained."
Let's see how they are thinking. Next.
One who is attracted by that ecstatic love of the gopis does not care about popular opinion or the regulatory principles of Vedic life. Rather, he completely surrenders unto Krishna and renders service unto him. If one worships the Lord on the path of spontaneous love and goes to Vrindavan, he receives the shelter of Rajendra Nandana, the son of Nanda Maharaj. In his liberated stage, the devotee is attracted by one of the 5 humors in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As he continues to serve the Lord in that transcendental mood, he attains a spiritual body to serve Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. Those saintly persons who represent the Upanishads are vivid examples of this. By worshipping the Lord on the path of spontaneous love, they attain the lotus feet of Rajendra Nandana, the son of Nanda Maharaj. This is again that verse. Great sages conquer the mind and senses by practicing the mystic yoga system and controlling the breath. Thus, engaging in mystic yoga, they see the super soul within their hearts and ultimately enter into impersonal Brahman. But even the enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead attain that position simply by thinking of the Supreme Lord. However, the damsels of Vraja, the Gopis, being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, simply wanted to embrace him and his arms, which are like serpents. Thus, the Gopis ultimately tasted the nectar of the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, we Upanishads can also taste the nectar of his lotus feet by following in the footsteps of the Gopis.
So this is why we have to follow in the footsteps of the Gopis. Next.
The word samadrishaha, mentioned in the fourth line of the previous verse, means following in the mood of the Gopis. The word samaha means the shrutis attainment of bodies like those of the Gopis.
Next.
The word Angri Padma Sudha means associating intimately with Krishna. One can attain such perfection only by spontaneous love of God. One cannot obtain Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan simply by serving the Lord according to regulative principles.
This is what the difference between Lakshmi and the Gopis. Lakshmi is serving in, because when you do this sadhana bhakti, you can go only up to Vaikuntha. Understand? If you want to go above that, you must come to Raganuga Bhakti. There's a difference. Next.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to those devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service.
This verse we read already just now.
But is not as easily accessible.
Next.
Not as easily accessible to mental speculators and those who are considered body the same as a self. Therefore, one should accept the mood of the Gopis in their service. In such a transcendental mood, one should always think of the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna.
So this is the method how to serve Radha and Krishna.
After thinking of Radha and Krishna and their pastimes for a long time, and after getting completely free from material contamination, one is transferred to the spiritual world. There, the devotee attains an opportunity to serve Radha and Krishna as one of the Gopis.
A very important point here in this verse. After thinking of Radha and Krishna and serving in your mind for a long
time,
not that you come today, get initiated, tomorrow you dance with the Gopis. Hello? You understand this point? After thinking of the Lord in this for a long time. So long time means what? It can be next life, can be many lives, you know when.
It's interesting. Actually, the verse does not say long time, but Prabhupada added.
Yeah, so Prabhupada. Why? Because this is the problem. They all think that no, I will jump into Radha and Krishna and oh, you told me already, Prabhu, now I know what to do. You understand? So Prabhupada is very smart. He put this word inside. And you know, I also felt the same problem when I was preaching in Russia. They want all, tomorrow they want to dance with Krishna. How is it possible? Understand? So therefore, we have to be very careful. We want to get into the intimacy of Radha and Krishna. We have to go through a process. That one, Adau Shraddha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, one thing after the other. So the whole program has to be followed, especially following Mangala. One Saturday you come in. 6 days a week you sleeping. How is it possible? You think you have to become very strict follower. Yes. I think I finished here already. One more last one.
Unless one follows in the footsteps of the gopis, he cannot attain the service of the lotus feet of Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj. If one is overcome by knowledge of the Lord's opulence, he cannot attain the Lord's lotus feet, even though he is engaged in devotional service. This is
the point.
But this is interesting. Why it is said if one is overcome by knowledge of the Lord's opulence, he cannot attain the Lord's lotus feet, even though he is engaged in devotional service. How come?
So this point, even though you got all the knowledge, you cannot go to Krishna. That is to cover this point, you can go to 11, 12. I think 11, 12. The gopis don't even know who I am. No knowledge. That's a verse, 11, 12. You don't even know who I am. Yeah. 11, 12, 7. 11, 12, 8. 2 verses.
11, 12, 7. Srimad Bhagavatam. Tenadhita Shrutigana Mahattamah Avratapt Tapasah Matsangan Mamupagata. The persons I have mentioned did not undergo serious studies of the Vedic literature, nor did they worship great saintly persons, nor did they execute severe vows or austerities. Simply by association with me and my devotees, they achieved me.
Read on until 13.
केवलेन हि भावेन गोप्यो गावो नगा मृगाः येन्ये मूढधियो नागाः सिद्धा माम ईयुरञ्जसा. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, including the gopis, cows, unmoving creatures such as the twin Arjuna trees, animals, living entities with stunted consciousness such as bushes and thickets, and snakes such as Kaliya, all achieve the perfection of life by unalloyed love for me and thus very easily achieve me. यम्न योगेन सांख्येन दान व्रत तपोध्वरैः व्याख्या स्वाध्याय संन्यासैः प्राप्नुयाद यत्नवानपि. Even though one engages with great endeavor in the mystic yoga system, philosophical speculation, charity, vows, penances, ritualistic sacrifices, teaching of Vedic mantras to others, personal study of the Vedas, or the renounced order of life, still one cannot achieve me.
See, this is the point. You can do all these things, but you cannot achieve. Why? Why you cannot achieve me? Next verse.
रामेण सार्धं मथुरां प्रणीते श्वाफल्किनामयि अनुरक्तचित्ताः विगाढभावेन न मे वियोग तीव्राधयोन्यं ददृशुः सुखाय. The residents of Vrindavan, headed by the gopis, were always completely attached to me with deepest love. Therefore, when my uncle Akrura brought my brother Balram and me to the city of Mathura, the residents of Vrindavan suffered extreme mental distress because of separation from me and could not find any other source of happiness. तास्ताः क्षपाः प्रेष्ठतमेन नीता मयैव वृन्दावन गोचरेण क्षणार्धवत्ताः पुनरङ्गतासां हीना मया कल्पसमा बभूवुः. Dear Uddhava, all of those nights that the gopis spent with me, their most dearly beloved, in the land of Vrindavan, seemed to them to pass in less than a moment. Bereft of my association, however, the gopis felt that those same nights dragged on forever, as if each night were equal to a day of Brahma. तानाविदन्मयि अनुसङ्गबद्धधियः स्वमात्मानमदस्तथेदं यथा समाधौ मुनयोब्धितो ये नद्यः प्रविष्टा इव नामरूपे. My dear Uddhava, just as great sages in yoga trance merge into self-realization like rivers merging into the ocean, and are thus not aware of material names and forms, similarly the gopis of Vrindavan were so completely attached to me within their minds that they could not think of their own bodies or of this world or of their future lives. Their entire consciousness was simply bound up in me. मत्कामारमणं जारम् अस्वरूपविदो बलाः ब्रह्म मां परमं प्रापुः संगाच्छतसहस्रशः. All those hundreds of thousands of gopis, understanding me to be their most charming lover and ardently desiring me in that way, were unaware of my actual position. Yet, by intimately associating with me, the gopis attained me the supreme absolute truth.
See this point here? Yeah, unaware. Philosophically, all they don't know nothing. But because of their extreme love for the Lord, they have won his heart over. So that's the point, that without even knowledge. All right, I think we have pretty much covered the whole subject.
There's
Anybody?
a question. There's a question.
No.
Some people say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers we are, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed conjugal love, gopis love. But therefore, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Amar Agnya Guru Haya Tara E Desh, that is an Agnya, it's an order, and therefore to follow such an order is the Dasyaras. It's not Madhuryaras. So those who are preachers of the movement are in Dasyaras. So you have to climb higher than that to go to Madhuryaras, which is the actual essence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings.
This is their interpretation. Anyone who follows Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always in the Madhurya Ras. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the mood of serving the separation mood of the gopis with Krishna. He came to teach us how to serve in that mood of separation. You understand this point? So when he who follows Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Prabhupada was asked this question, we all, where we go, Vaikuntha or to, no, all followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu go to Goloka Vrindavan. Okay? So what Dasya is that? So try to understand, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu order you to preach, he order you to preach that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You understand? And when you say Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then Radharani must be there. Today's subject, it cannot be anybody else. Yes? Correct? You understand this point? So anyone who says the Dasya Raj and all this thing, I don't think he understands anything. Of course, in order to go to all these Ras, you must go through Santa Raj, Dasya Raj, every Raj. But Madhurya Raj completes with all, to explain this point, in the, I think it is in the Madhya 8, I don't know where exactly, I have to find, that just like first, you get what? Sound, right? After sound, what do you get? What do you get? Sound has got what?
One.
And the quality of
space
of the sound, what?
Then air, touch. Sound and touch.
Touch, right? And then after air, what do you get?
Fire.
Fire has got
sound,
form.
Sound, touch and form.
Sound, touch and form. And then you go to what?
Water.
Water has got
sound,
taste.
Touch, form and taste.
With everything. And then finally earth
sound,
has got
touch, form, taste and smell.
All the qualities are in earth. Similarly, I think it was Vishwanath Chakravarti. I have to refer again. It is in the 8th Madhya 8, you will find. If you type, you will come to that. There, these points are explained. So similarly, Santaraj has got certain quality. Dasharaj has got certain quality. Sakya Raj got this quality, and what is that other one?
Vatsalya.
Vatsalya got certain, and Madhurya has got all complete. You understand? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this, what? Madhurya Ras. Hey, so how you can say he's only teaching you about Dashera? It doesn't make any sense. You know?
Yeah, this is the one. Madhya 8.88.
Okay, you can read that, you see?
Yeah. परिपूर्ण कृष्ण प्राप्ति ए प्रेमा होते ए प्रेमार वश कृष्ण कह भागवते. Complete attainment of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna is made possible by love of Godhead, specifically Madhurya Ras or conjugal love. Lord Krishna is indeed captivated by this standard of love. This is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Purport. To explain the topmost quality of conjugal love, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives the example of the material elements sky, air, fire, water, and earth. In sky, space, there is the quality of sound. Similarly, in the air, there are qualities of sound and touch. In fire, there are 3 qualities, sound, touch, and form. In water, there are 4 qualities, sound, touch, form, and taste. Finally, in earth, there are all 5 qualities, sound, touch, form, taste, and also smell. Now one can see that the quality of the sky is in all, namely in air, fire, water, and earth. In earth, we can find all the qualities of material nature. The same can be applied to the rasa known as Madhurya Ras or conjugal love. In conjugal love, there are the qualities of neutrality, servitorship, fraternity, and parental affection, as well as those of conjugal love itself. The conclusion is that through conjugal love, the Lord is completely satisfied. Conjugal love, Madhurya Ras, is also known as Sringara Ras. It is the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam that in the complete combination of loving service to the Lord, namely in conjugal love, the Supreme Lord fully agrees to be under the control of the devotee. The highest form of conjugal love is represented by Srimati Radharani. Therefore, in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, we can see that Krishna is always subjugated by Srimati Radharani's influence.
The breakdown of this, you want to know more, you can read Nectar of Devotion. Huh? There's all this explanation there. So this is the point, just to tell you that Madhurya Ras has got all the thing encompassed in it. So to say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is promoting Dasya, that's not, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prem. The Krishna Prem means what? We already explained at length. Today the whole class is Krishna Prem. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was talking about it to Venkadapat. This is the point. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is talking about Radha and Krishna love. Yeah, yeah. We came that is there in the RD3. So try to understand today's subject is a little bit deep, but the conclusion is that Krishna, to love Krishna, you cannot love Krishna without the help of his devotees, primarily the, that's his conclusion. All right. So this Dasharas doesn't make any sense to me at all. Huh?
Every morning you are saying, "Hey, Nivedana Dara Sakhi Ranu Bhata." Seva Yadi Kara Diye Puro Diye. Please let me omit some the groups of dance. Every morning you are singing like that.
Singing also, no, that verse in morning, Shisa, what? Guru Vandana, what is that?
Nikunja
Samasta. Nikunja, you know, Ratikali Sidgai, what is that Nikunja, you know?
But there is a guided process. Yes, CRD 450.
4?
We can say that the Lord has come to forgive this montaneous.
Yes. He's
No,
not
they are
came-
saying, yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came for Madhurya, but because it is Agnya Palan, because he's giving Agnya Palan, so that is Dasa. To follow the order is Dasya, it's not Madhurya. Gopis don't follow orders.
That doesn't make any sense. Everybody have to go through Dasya to go to conjugal love. If you don't have Dasya, how you go there? Just now I explained. In Madhurya, you got all the qualities of Dasya, Seva, all inside.
But the question is, therefore they say preaching is not the highest because it is Dasya, then you have to climb to Madhurya. But then Krishna says, preacher is my favorite devotee in Bhagavad Gita. Gopis are themselves glorifying preachers.
Again, there is a lot of conditions because Krishna say, I will not give you love of God like that. My prema, he, you know, 8, RD 8:19. RD 8:19. My love for my love, prema, Krishna prem, I rarely give to anybody. I rarely give to anybody. You see this verse here. You read.
This one. Muktim dadatit karhichit smana bhakti yogam. 5, 6, 18, right?
Yeah. Can you read this?
The great sage Sukadeva said, My dear Maharaj Parikshit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is always ready to help you. He is your master, guru, God, and very dear friend, and also the head of your family. Yet sometimes he agrees to act as your family's servant or order carrier. You are greatly fortunate because this relationship is possible only by Bhakti Yoga. The Lord can give liberation or mukti very easily, but he does not very easily give one Bhakti Yoga because by that process he is bound to the devotee.
See this point here? It does rarely give. But then you read on, next, you see. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give freely. What is that? This Krishna Prema Pradayati. Is that? Lord Chaitanya was freely given this love of God. See the difference? Can you read that?
Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has freely given this love of Krishna everywhere and anywhere, even to the most fallen such as Jagai and Madhai. What then to speak of those who are already pious and elevated?
So that's why the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even you don't surrender to him, if you look at him, you go back to God. Finish. You understand? That is, you can't say that he's giving you dasya and all this. The person who's saying all these things doesn't understand. He does not understand. You follow? So we are preaching actually, those who are followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are preaching Radha Krishna love. Yes. Are they preaching some Dasya and all this? That is according to you. If you are more happy in the Dasya platform, that's your feelings. We're not saying. In fact, in many parts of the CC, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always, what do you say, stopping anyone who was worshipping even Ram. You know them? All these Ram Bhaktas or Shiva Bhaktas, he was always preaching to them to take to Radha and Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna. You follow this point. Chanting Hare Krishna, what is the meaning of chanting Hare Krishna? What is the meaning of this Hare Krishna? What? Dasya Rasa. What is this Hare Krishna means? What is Hare? It itself explains the whole thing. This person has not, I don't think he's got some
I
good
mean,
brains.
even Dasaras is too much for them, honestly, because sadhana hasn't completed, first of all.
You cannot, it says, it says in NOD, Nectar of Devotion, chapter 35, the last paragraph, you read. NOD 35, last paragraph, you read. Especially the last few lines.
Shukadeva Goswami and Bilamangal Thakur, who gave up the impersonal conception of the absolute truth to take to devotional service, are the best example of devotees situated in the neutral state. According to some authorities, this condition cannot be accepted as one of the transcendental humors or rasas, but Srila Rupa Goswami says that even if one does not accept it as a transcendental humor, one must still accept it as the beginning position of devotional service. However, if one is not further raised to the platform of actual service to the Lord, he is not considered to be on the platform of transcendental mellow. In this connection, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna personally instructs Uddhava like this: The state of being established in my personal form is called Shantarasa, and without being situated in this position, no one can advance to actual pure devotional service. In other words, no one can be situated in the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead without being situated at least in Shantaras.
So this is the beginning. Without accepting the form of Krishna, you cannot. You see that? Huh? No one can be situated in the personal feature of Supreme Personality Godhead without being accepting the form of the Lord. I think there's a line on the top there. Uh,
The state of
This
being
state
established.
of being established in my personal form is called Son, and without being situated in this position, no one can advance to the actual pure devotional service. Of course, you know this one. There's another explanation. You know that was
1936.
right. 11, 19.
1936.
Yeah. Actually, it is there in 19,212 and 213. But there's too much time. You explain all that, you get a bit very much confused. I don't want to. But the point is this, that without accepting Krishna, that's why just now I explained, without the what? First element, what is that? Ether, right?
Yeah.
You cannot get earth and all that. So the beginning is you must accept the form of the Lord. Without accepting the form of the Lord, you cannot make any progress spiritually. You understand? This is the point that, you know. So therefore, the Santaras, the Dasyaras, they're all subordinate to the topmost Ras, which is technically there's no difference. Just now Krishna, I know there's no difference between Narayana and Krishna. That he said everybody's, you understand? But conjugal Ras is the, and the Lord came to give that. That's why he started to tell everybody, you preach. What do you preach? Yare Deka Tareka, what do you preach? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Practically nobody knows that Krishna is God, is it not? Huh? Argue like any crazy thing, you know. The other day also, arguing. What? Because we say Krishna is God. Oh, can I accept? You mean to say everybody is wrong? Only you are right? Famous argument. Yes, we are only right. Everybody is wrong. Why? Because Krishna is saying, what do you want to do? Argue with me. Huh? You understand? Because they do not accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is their problem. Right? So I think I pretty much covered this whole subject. It's a little advanced topic today. We have to discuss the position of Lakshmi and Radharani, the two different. But nonetheless, Krishna's position is unique. He is the supreme personality of God. Similarly, here the word gopi is used, but actually the position of Radharani is very unique. That's why we Radha and Krishna, our temple, different. Okay, we will stop here then. I don't know. You have anything to add anymore? Yeah.
The Jagannath the ceremony is there. Kera Panchami. The Jagannath is in the British and Lakshmi is very angry and coming to
Bow down. Yeah.
come back. If you see Jagannath Astakam also, it says Rama Sandhu Brahma. Praising Lakshmi as somebody far away, but then there is a voice saying that Param Brahma Pida, Uvalaya Dala Fulanayam, Nivasi Ladru, Vihi the Jarana. Rasa Nando Radha Sarasa Vapur. So Rasa Nando Radha Sarasa Vapur Ali Jana Sikha. Jagannath is always in embrace of Radha. But in the verses you can see that Lakshmi is far away. He is waiting to get his mercy.
No, he left an event, you know. He was rushing to go to heaven.
Sankaracharya knows the move.
Because he's an acharya, no?
Even there is a discussion between Srivasa Acharya during this Karapanchami. CCTV. Lakshmi versus Gopīs.
Yeah, they have discussed.
They are fighting.
Debating.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the whole Ratha Yatra is the mood of bringing Krishna to Vrindavan. Right? That's why he was so happy, he's dancing and going. So these are all different moods that we have to understand. Unless you are advanced, you can understand.
Can we say that as far as Tattva is concerned, it is same, but as far as Rasa is concerned, it's different.
You see, like this, I give you a basic example. Would you give a class like this on Sunday? Why you don't give this kind of class on Sunday? Why? What? Because the audience are not able to relish. So in order for them to understand, you have to come down to their level to uplift them. Yes? So the same way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he goes out, he just say Hare Krishna, chant. But when he's talking, you see how much fact he's talking. Huh? He would have said the same thing to Venkatapat, but no. He wanted to help him understand that worship of Krishna is not the same thing. So that is the Acharya. According to time, circumstance, and place, they give that. Why Shankaracharya, he prayed all this praise. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also using this praise. Huh? If he is worshipping the impersonal form, the whole prayer of Jagannath has got no impersonalism. Yes. So you have to know, understand this through the acharyas. Then you can understand. Otherwise, you will be confused. Why he said this and why he said that, and so many things. Yes.
Prabhupada said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never spoke the philosophy to public, only to his intimate
Yes.
Ramananda Raya.
Yes. He is very careful. Even Raghunath Das was coming into the circle. He said, "What are you doing here?" He asked him to go out. Even Raghunath Das could not go inside. And he's one of the Goswamis. Huh?
Then why he says Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti?
Rupa Raghunath Pade is the other Raghunath.
Tabe
probably.
hame. No, Rupa and Raghunath Das. No?
Yeah. Because he was speaking all those things only to Ramananda Raj,
Sarup
Sarup
Damodar.
Damodar. He didn't want anybody else to. So they learned it from. Yeah. That's how he went, Guru Parampara, no? And Chaitanya was very particular. He was not allowing even Raghunath to come. But to speak about you and me, cannot. Huh? So that's why we have to go through the Goswamis to go into that. There's two lines, you know. Without the shelter of the Goswamis, you cannot understand this. I think there's a song by Narottam Das Thakur. Rupa Raghunath Pade. Huh?
Hoibe Akuti Kabe hame Bujabo Shri Jugala Priti.
So you cannot try. Similarly, we cannot try to get into this without the help of Srila Prabhupada. That's not possible. You bypass all these things and you try to go like Lakshmi, what will happen? For years you will be meditating and not possible. Lakshmi, you know, who is she? In fact, she herself is saying in today's words, you put the line on me and I'm there, it is all false Krishna. I don't recognize this. Because the highest thing is to dance with the Lord. And she didn't get that favor. Understand this point? And today we have explained at length why she did not get that favor and why she is clamoring for it. I understand this point. All right, I think we're getting time. No? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I was thinking this verse is a very deep verse. I don't know